Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. So this is going to be a bit of a weird one, and first of all, without further ado, let's jump right into it. This was a very weird one, and it took me a while to actually get this one together. So I was looking for specific information about Ripple. I was looking for information about the company and something that they were doing in a specific time frame. And then I saw something that didn't register in my head as news because I hadn't seen it anywhere else. I clicked on it, and then lo and behold, the only place I could find this information was on a government's website. I searched around, I Googled for it. I found information that apparently sometime in, I think, the summer, there were discussions about this. And even when I rechecked once again for the actual time frame of this news, I went to Google, double searched basically what's on the screen, and it came up as this information came out at the beginning of November. No one talked about this. Not one person. This information was nowhere. For those of you not looking at the screen, this is the website of the Central Bank of Montenegro, and it says that they have signed an agreement with, you know who, with Ripple to develop a digital currency strategy and pilot. This is shocking, one, because it's yet another country who has basically kind of told the news themselves, and I couldn't, once again, try and find it. I couldn't find this news anywhere else except for the middle of this year where it was like speculation that it was going to happen. And also because this news wasn't anywhere. It's a little bit shocking. People tend to be a little bit more up on these things. It says the Central Bank of Montenegro, the CBCG, has agreed to collaborate with the enterprise crypto and blockchain solutions provider Ripple to develop a strategy and a pilot program to launch the country's first digital currency in the form of a central bank digital currency or national stablecoin, which is what we've also been hearing a lot from a lot of countries and banks. I don't know if they don't care for the letter CBDC, but a lot of them have been announcing that they even want to make their own stablecoin. I don't know, maybe just part of the lingo. Aligning with the bank's core objectives, the digital currency's introduction is another step forward to digitizing financial services and fostering a world of greater financial accessibility for Montenegro's citizens. They talk about exactly what a CBDC is, and they talk about the European Central Bank is also working on a digital Europe concept as well. There are also tons of rumors surrounding that as well, that Ripple might actually also be working with them as well for a portion of their central bank digital currency to also be running on the XRP blockchain. I think at that point, if anyone else really continues to ignore Ripple after that, I don't know what planet you're actually living on. So this is now apparently official. The idea is, for those of you who've been missing it or maybe wanted to miss it, is that Ripple is apparently working with around 30 different central banks. I believe we've heard officially from 13 or 14. This might be the 14th one. As before this, we heard the country of Georgia is also going to be using the XRP blockchain for their central bank digital currency. We also just heard that there are now 27 countries in Africa who are also going to be using the XRP blockchain for payments, as well as a portion of Australia and I believe the United Kingdom for this particular payment system website as well. It's incredibly big news, and I can only repeat this one more time. I'm not sure how people continue to ignore them while buying up these other coins that do absolutely nothing. But I guess maybe it's just a really weird mentality of making sure that you don't have money in the future. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. But yeah, look up this information for yourself. It's from their website, the Central Bank of Montenegro. Quite fantastic. Couldn't find this news anywhere else. Was very pleased to have unearthed it. Yeah, not really much more to say. And yeah, let's you understand the significance of this, right? Like, you understand how, okay, just making sure, because I feel like a lot of people still don't get it. I don't know. All right. Let's move on. Also in the news, Tether has continued printing Tether. Now, I know that sounds absolutely completely insane if you're not looking at the screen. It says Tether has printed another 4 billion with a B dollars worth of USDT Tether, the stablecoin. Why is this significant? The news that we got a couple of years ago, and I assume it still holds true, is that Tether prints new Tether, when there is demand, and also, I guess, A.2. The idea is that there are investors behind the scenes who give Tether money or assets or whatever the actual case might be to be able to print new Tether. The way that we understand it or have been told once again years ago is that these people basically, I don't want to use the word partner with Tether, but they allow them to create new coins, and therefore these people also kind of get a slice of the transactional pie. B is that we have seen historically, constantly, over and over, this will now be the third bull run that this is happening for, is that whenever Tether does print a massively enormous amount of Tether, it's because of demand in the market, is that there are market makers, people behind the scenes who know exactly how much money worth of Tether needs to be additionally circulated into the market. And that's because they're expecting new people to enter the market and the previous players as well re-entering the market and or retrading in massive sums of money. And therefore, when they're day trading or swapping money back and forth over the course of the next 18 months of the bull run, they're going to need to put their money somewhere, and you have to make sure that Tether has extra liquidity. If there's only a billion Tether and there's $7 billion worth of demand, that's not really going to work out. So you have to make sure that there's a huge amount of Tether constantly flowing out there so that Tether's completely liquid, is pegged to the 1-to-1 to the US dollar. And yeah, all signs are constantly pointing to this recreation of a bull run, as we have seen many other times before in the past. Right? Not the craziest news out there, but this is a very good indication of things to come, simply because it basically means that essentially the millionaires and billionaires behind the scenes are getting ready. They're going to Tether and say, hey, we need more of this. And that's how the ball just kind of keeps on rolling. That's the Tether just made 4 billion new Tether news. Yeah. Let's move on. In, I guess, be careful news, not jokingly, but I didn't know that this was still a thing. The world of crypto and Web3 are plagued with dangers associated with fake apps and phishing attempts, duping unsuspecting victims with the promise of quick and easy money. An unfortunate event has come to light in which a user lost his crypto after using a fake version of Skype. That's what I was saying. And it's more of I didn't know that people still used Skype. It's not a joke. Everyone kind of video chats, if you will, through their iPhone or through some other video messaging thing, or on WhatsApp or on Telegram. I haven't heard anyone say the word Skype since 1772 or something like that. Blockchain security firm Slowmist brought the incident to light, describing an unfortunate incident where a user lost significant funds after using a fake version of a highly popular social... Wait, how do you lose money from Skype? Slowmist has already published several articles analyzing phishing cases. According to the analysis, the user in question downloaded the app from an untrustworthy source online. Who's still downloading Skype? And what? You have to give people information for them to be able to get your crypto in some way. Did this person download Skype and then give them their private keys? Preliminary investigations have revealed that the hackers behind the fake app and hack were the same Chinese hackers who were responsible for a similar fake Binance app. We also had news 2 days ago, that someone also made a fake XRP wallet, Zum XUMM or something like that. Just be wary if you're trying to download something, especially something like Skype. just go to the official website. I feel like it's really not that difficult. So yeah, just another cautionary tale because this keeps happening sadly over and over. I think we've moved lightly away from those weird YouTube videos with people promising you free money. But now we've just gotten to the point where people are just downloading whatever they find online and then giving away their... Do you understand what Skype is? How do you give... How do they take the... Okay. I hope they didn't lose too much money. And also everyone out there, just don't use Skype. Like, I don't know. That's the someone lost money on Skype news. Just download stuff from the real website. Stop using other places news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in the news, this is kind of like once again a resurgence from 2020, 2021. Portuguese investment bank known as BPI has established itself as the first bank in Portugal to launch a platform for buying and selling NFTs. The platform is called Dverse, as in the letter D and then verse, was launched last Friday and focuses on virtual art collectibles. One, I mentioned before in a couple of other videos, the NFT market is ripping and roaring back. A lot of people are buying up NFTs in anticipation of a continued bull run over the course of the next year and a half, and therefore they think that prices will continue rising. Two, banks are openly announcing that they're getting back into not the cryptocurrency space, but we've been hearing a lot, especially from HSBC and the other banks who've been in the news the last couple of weeks, that the idea of like digital collectibles, digital securities, and digitized form of wealth, they're kind of like what's the term for it? They're beginning to custody these things. From the last 4 banks that we heard from, they're basically only working with like very rich and exclusive people in the beginning, and then these platforms will be rolled out to, us to the normies once they kind of get everything together. But everything is always this exact way. A lot of people do forget and have forgotten that NFTs, how do I say this? A lot of large museums around the world have actually been buying NFTs for a while. And I read an article, like personally, this was me, myself, and they were talking about how galleries and banks and investment firms and also museums have been collecting NFTs while prices have been down because it's like a great time for them to actually get into the market. I think the biggest one that we heard from, the one that made it public the most, was the Pompidou in Paris, who also bought a whole bunch of NFTs as well, as these are expected to continue rising as well in the future. So now we're hearing about, they're literally called Portuguese Investment Bank. I wonder what they do. Thanks to BPI's progressive stance on blockchain, its clients can now access exclusive digital art collectibles through Dverses. There are so many other words they could have, or letters that they could have used. Maybe it's supposed to be digital verse. The inauguration of the new platform was celebrated with the release of Shifting Horizons, a digital art collection by Julian Raffin, curated by Ephemeral Ethereal, and it keeps going. Okay, I'm not reading all those names and whatever. Cool, absolutely amazing, fantastic. NFTs, very similar to many different cryptocurrency projects. I'm very interested to see where they're going to be over the course of the next 10 years. If you are in the NFT space, the rumors of banks and institutions having been buying for a very long time and basically loading up on everything that's incredibly cheap, especially for the stuff that's actually connected to like someone's intellectual property and or like mega companies. So very interesting. I look forward to seeing what the future holds, because for me, the future is basically going to be nearly entirely digital. We see the way that the world is forming and constantly moving in the same exact direction. So I think there are a lot of people who just choose not to accept it or look at it or think that it's going to be a thing. But you can't help everybody. That's the Portuguese investment bank is launching a platform for buying and selling NFTs news. And yeah, let's move on. Also this is a bit dramatic, but this is of course also very popular. It says in a bold move that could shape the future of crypto regulation in the United States, Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse has declared his unwavering commitment to taking the SEC's lawsuit against XRP and Ripple to the Supreme Court. Like I said, cool it's a little bit too dramaticals. So basically, Brad Garlinghouse has been on a number of TV shows, made a number of appearances with people asking him how he feels about the entirety of the thing that's been going on between Ripple and the SEC regarding XRP. He's expressed many times how happy he is that the SEC has basically been losing all these cases because it just shows that they were wrong or incorrect from the very beginning. He talks about the cases being dropped against him and how XRP is not a security. But people have been asking him as well, like, how far does he plan on taking it? Like, if need be, would he take this all the way to the Supreme Court? I'm not sure if people were expecting him to say no. I'm not sure if they were like, no, this is it. Like, we will never fight again, or what it actually was. First of all, the idea of a move to the Supreme Court would literally take like so many years, and you think this 3-year period with the SEC was a lot. It would be far too much. The other point is that, I mean, I don't think they need the Supreme Court, but if it does end up going there and then they do end up winning the lawsuit, then, you know, you can't really go higher than the highest court in the United States. But this made very popular news simply because, I don't know. It says in an interview that took place during the DC FinTech Week 2023, Garlinghouse said, "I think that could definitely happen. I mean, certainly. And we've said this publicly, we are in it till the end." I assume so. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not going to be like, guys, should we just stop? Should we just give all of our money to the SEC and just stop fighting? I think I'm going to go live in the forest. Like, that's, I don't. So maybe it's because people are like, oh, really cool. You know, Garlinghouse is going to fight to the end. But I think we could have all expected that, especially with like the gigantic fine that they have to pay. But that's neither here nor there. So cool. Brad Garlinghouse says he's willing to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. I sincerely hope it doesn't come to that, because that just seems a little bit too like a little bit too much. That's the popular Ripple news, because they're always in the news now. And yeah, moving along. Also in very popular news, and I'm going to explain why this probably should not have been very popular news. The legislative initiative that is for this immigration proposal, led by Q Dajin from the Science and Technology Innovation Society within Hong Kong, has proposed the inclusion of Bitcoin purchased from licensed exchanges as part of the city's revamped investor migration program. So let me explain. For those of you who do not know, a lot of countries, like dozens of countries around the world, have a program where if you are trying to or want to move there, you can go the normal legal, I mean, they're all legal, but you can go like the longer route and go there and you can study and you can find the job, yada, yada. Or if you have the money, you can basically pay outright for sometimes they call them golden visas. Sometimes they call them like immediate permanent visas. You name it, whatever you want. And usually many countries, you have to stay there between, or rather have a residence there between the course of 3 to 5 years. And then bada bing, bada boom, you end up getting a passport. Some of them will let you buy the passport outright. Some of them have very lenient laws as well, where like simply you can just buy a property, hold on to it for a number of years, and then you end up getting permanent residency as well. Since the beginning of this year, Hong Kong has thrown themselves into the cryptocurrency space, and they're basically, I'm not really sure why, maybe they're just looking for like very wealthy individuals, but they're now trying to have like a new migration program where basically they're saying if you have X amount of Bitcoin or have purchased X amount of Bitcoin, you can now move to Hong Kong and you can live here. The issue is, the article says, the proposal emerged as Hong Kong restarted its investment migration program after an 8-year hiatus. So for 8 years, they didn't have this, and I assume they realized not as many people were looking to move there, especially if you've been looking at the news. And for those of you who have already forgotten, remember what was happening in 2019 with people standing outside? Look up the news from 2019 and you'll remember very quick, because that news went away at the beginning of 2020. And apparently the threshold for this, keeping in mind, this was very popular news. And I mean like Ripple XRP just got adopted by a country level. Like this was everywhere news. Setting an entry threshold of around $3.84 million that you need to have in Bitcoin to actually qualify. Now, I repeat once again, if you look, I mean, you can even Google it. Google countries where you can buy a passport, or like countries with golden visas. You'll find it. The vast majority of them, I mean, you can pay. Some of them have $250,000 for a passport. Some of them have $500,000 for a passport. I think even for a while, I think to move to the UK, I think that was also like 1 million pounds or something like that. So I personally don't really understand the idea of being like, well, they're $250,000, they're $500,000, they're roughly around 1 million or so. Let's do $3.84 million. The legislative initiative aims to expand the scope of assets covered under the program. It argues that the trading of Bitcoin on licensed virtual asset exchanges should theoretically be considered as a financial product for investment purposes. The proposal highlights a significant departure from traditional asset classes because we're not in the 1920s anymore. Like you got to evolve with the times. However, the revised program explicitly excludes real estate investments and does not grant eligibility to mainland Chinese citizens. First of all, that's also, this doesn't make any sense. Why was this popular news? Like, I understand that Bitcoin is in there. Cool, amazing, got it. $3.8 million is ridiculous. You know how many passports you can get for $3.84 million around the world in like beautiful island nations? Nearly all of them also have some kind of a clause like if you buy real estate. A lot of them have a thing like if you start a business as well. Like if you start a business and you make jobs here, cool, you can have a visa passport. Why would you exclude real estate? Real estate in Hong Kong is some of the most expensive in the world. If someone went there and bought a property for $3 million, why would you not simply be like, okay, here you go, here's a passport. Okay. It says apparently this is highlighting the program's attractiveness due to Hong Kong's low taxes and no inheritance tax. There's no inheritance tax in a lot of other places. Why do you think a lot of these countries have this thing where you can buy a passport or permanent residency? You think people are doing that because they want to go and have fun? No, they also have low tax rates, and they also... He noted that the rule requires 7 years of continuous residence for permanent residence eligibility, despite some applicants requesting a shorter period, because most countries literally say 3 to 5 years. And 5 years is like a hard push. Like 5 years is like, pew, that's like the maximum. Most of them literally say like 3 years and a little bit of money. You got it. For those of you who don't know, rich people have a lot of different passports. I watch so many documentaries you would not believe. Like you can look it up yourself. It's really fascinating. The programs that are out there for people who have money to make sure they have like 5 or 6 different passports. Should the poop hit the fan? That's a nice way of saying it. This was incredibly popular news. Like, I get it, but it's also like, no, $3.84 million, you can get permanent residence and or a passport in about 3 to 4 other countries. You can put the other $2 million into real estate and make $12,000 passively every single month. I feel, and then with that $12,000 every month, you can go and like visit Hong Kong anytime you want. Very odd news. Very, very odd. I assume this gained popularity because of the word Bitcoin there. But I mean, can we just all keep it completely real and be like, no? Why would anyone... $3.84 million? Yeah, not this life. That's the apparently in sometime in the future, they may be changing the law that people can move to Hong Kong with $3.84 million and staying there for 7 years news. Like what? What year is this? What are you talking about? You know how you make it attractive? You say if you have $1.5 million worth of crypto and you plan on investing around $1 million of it somewhere within the country, buying property, starting a business or something like that. And if you have $3 to $4 to $5 million, we will lower the time frame to 2 to 3 years. That's how you get the money there. That's archaic news. I don't know. All right. Let's move on. Also back in the news is Ethereum. You might remember about a month and a half ago, there were far too many articles out there talking about how Ethereum was once again inflationary. What happens is that as transactions happen on the Ethereum blockchain, Ether gets burned. The more transactions, the more the burn happens. When there's enough burn, there's actually less coins being there's more coins being burned than there actually are created, and therefore it becomes deflationary in this way. As there were less transactions over the earlier part of this year, therefore, I think there was one day where, 2 days where Ethereum became inflationary, but I think the inflation rate was like 0.14%. It was something minuscule, but that made the hot news. Is Ethereum over? Is Ethereum done? Who's going to be? And I'm like, can you count? Do you not know how numbers actually work? So yeah, Ethereum is once again deflationary. The supply has been reduced by 0.6% at a yearly rate. In the past 7 days, there were apparently 10,000 Ether that were burned and were taken out of circulation. And there were 1,500 ETH that were just removed within the past 24 hours. That's the point of the protocol. That's the point of the of the big news last year when it came to proof of stake, is that they would have a coin burn, and that as people used it normally, it would become deflationary. And just think, we're not even in like the crazy loop-de-loop bull run yet. So just imagine how more deflationary it's going to become in the future. Sure, fantastic. This was also, I don't want to say the most popular news, but people were definitely talking about it in like a, what? Ethereum's deflationary again? And it's like, yeah, it was that way for like 99% of the time. It's just that people wanted to like kick up dust into the air to make it seem as if there was something wrong with Ether when the rest of the market was I don't know. People need to get it together. I do, myself, sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.